Okay, welcome back, everybody. We are here. We're talking about week 10. 10 weeks into the fantasy season. We have 4 weeks left of the regular season, which is crazy. 4 more weeks before the playoffs start. Um, at this point, I don't think anybody's a lock. I don't think anybody's really clinched a spot. I mean, we kind of have an idea of probably who's going to make it based on the standings. I'm kind of taking a look down there real quick before we jump into anything else. Shannon is still out front. She's now the only 8-2 team. I was very close to being the only 8-2 team, but she happened to beat me on the last play of last night's game, unfortunately. But she also had the week 1 high score, or not week 1, week 10 high score with 131 points. Very low scoring week all around. 131 being the high score is pretty crazy. But as you and I were talking about before we started, with buys and injuries and stuff, the weekly scores tend to go down. So you sit at second place still, unmoved. I am in third place still. You and I are both 7-3. Not a whole lot separates you and I. About 5 points is the difference between your team and my team.
Yeah.
Then it's Scott in fourth, Melissa in fifth. They're both 6-4. Ashley's down in sixth. Now, funny enough, Ashley has the fourth most points scored. She's only about 10 points behind me, but she's sitting 3 places down. She's just kind of had a run of bad luck here. She's had some really close losses these past couple weeks. She's had a ton of injuries too. We'll talk about that. Her team was just absolutely decimated this past week, and she almost managed to squeak out a win. In fact, if Stephon Diggs had not gone off like he did, she would have won. So,
Yeah.
kind of unfortunate for her. Jimmy's at 5-5. Henry's down at 5-5 as well. Then we have our 2, 4, and 6 teams: Justin and Kate. Then JT and Chris still winless. Do you think Chris will get a win this season?
He would have beaten 1, 2, 3, 4 teams this week.
Yeah,
So
right. I think
he was
yeah,
close.
exactly. I think he will get a win for that very reason that he would be like you said 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. At some point it's going to happen where he's going to play one of those teams rather than playing. He ended up playing like the third highest score this week, which
Yeah.
only 125, but that's still the third highest score in JT. Um, Shannon was our highest score, as I mentioned, so she won the $5 this week for like the third or fourth time this season because her team is just crazy. So, having said that, I think we'll jump into the matchups here. Again, too early. Shannon still has 97, not to jump around. She has $97 of her fab left. Like, that's unreal. Melissa has 92, and Ashley has 93. Like, those are
That shouldn't be a thing.
the 3 top 6 teams are currently sitting with the majority of their fab budget. Like, that's
Crazy.
remarkable. But keeping in mind, I guess that the for playoffs, we got 4 weeks of regular season, but when playoffs start, the top 2 seeds get a round 1 bye in the playoffs, which currently would be you and Shannon. So, that's something worth playing for. These next 4 weeks is the bye, because here's the thing: if you are one of those top 2 seeds, you're automatically locked into a payout at season end, right? Because you're automatically going to be in the final 4 if you get that week 1 bye. And we pay out the top 4. So, a week 1 bye is basically a guaranteed payout. So, anyways, all right, let's jump into the matchups. We'll just start with mine. Shannon, we talked about this. She whooped me this week, but again, low scoring week, so nothing really crazy across the board here. On my side, Jonathan Taylor, he's been the lone bright spot on my team in most of these weeks. He's just been really consistent, really good. He's currently the number 1 running back after Derrick Henry got injured. So, I'll take it. Again, when I took him in the six overall in the draft, I didn't feel so great about that.
That was crazy.
Yeah, and I like Jonathan Taylor a lot. That's kind of why I reached for him there. But I didn't expect him, at this point in the season to be number 1. And he's got I think, pretty decent schedule going forward. But I'm not too concerned, regardless of who he plays, because he's just so good. Actually, some of his matchups kind of suck. He's got Buffalo and then Tampa Bay. But other than that, not too scary. Other than that, nobody really on my team worth talking about. And then on Shannon's team here, Dak had a great day. Debo had a great day. So we were talking about this. Debo really crushed me this week because I was ahead of Shannon going into last night's game. I had Darrell Henderson. She had Debo. I was ahead still for 3.5 quarters of that game last night. And then on 4th and 5 play by the 49ers, who were at that time up by 3 possessions in this game, instead of punting it away, they decide to throw the ball on 4th and 5, and they throw a 40-yard touchdown to Debo, and I lose. So That was painful. Because I honestly, when they lined up, I'm like, okay, they're just trying to draw them off sides. They're just trying to get the free first down so they can keep running the clock. No, they snap the ball and they throw a 40-yard touchdown pass to freaking Debo. Like, why not Kittle? Why not Ayuk? Why not whoever other clowns they have on their offense? Why did it have to be Debo freaking Samuel of all the people on that freaking team? But
Did you check
Debo's.
your fantasy after that? Did you remember that Shannon had Debo?
Oh, I was watching. I was watching the
No,
game.
but
So.
I'm saying, did you check the fantasy app after? Like, did you know that she had Debo?
Oh yeah. Oh, I knew Debo. I knew I was playing against Debo. I was watching, Daryl Henderson in the game. I was watching
Yeah,
Debo because she had him. So like as soon as I see that ball go to 19 and he gets a touchdown, I didn't need to check anymore because I knew that was enough points to get her the win.
yeah.
She won by about 7 points. So you figure, a 40-yard touchdown pass is
It's 11
11
points.
points, right? So, I had a 4 point lead on her, which wasn't much. A couple extra passes would have eaten that away. But as it turned out, Debo didn't have any other catches or any other plays the rest of the game. That was it. That was his last play. Um, so that sucked, but oh well. Still in the top three, so I'll take it. So let's move on. Let's talk about Ashley and Justin's game here. So another close one. This kind of there's actually a lot of games came down to sort of last night's game, and that's kind of I guess as a result of all the fantasy pieces involved in those two teams. I mean, you figure on the Rams, you have Cooper Cup, you have Matthew Stafford, you have Darrell Henderson, you've got Tyler Higbee. I don't know if Jimmy started him, but Odell played his first game as a Ram last night. And then on the 49ers, you've got, I doubt Jimmy G was started, but you've got Kittle, you've got Ayuk, you've got Debo, you've got Eli Mitchell. So just a lot of big fantasy players, and I know a couple of these games were decided by that, including this one right here. The reason I bring that up is because Ashley had Kittle. So Ashley came into this game down about 26, I think. She had the Rams defense, who only got her 1 point because they got absolutely destroyed, and she had Kittle. So she got 17 of like the 26 she needed, so she didn't quite get there. Um, but Diggs went off for Justin, 162 yards, on 8 catches with touchdowns. Finally, his best game of the season by a good margin. I think probably by 18 points here. Yeah, his next best game was 24 points. So he tacked on about 14 points more than his second best game this season. So that's pretty good. It's good to see that from Diggs finally. It's kind of disappointing though. Still, if he's clearly not going to do that every week like he did last year. So still sucks. But finally got what you wanted out of him. Darrell Williams, how about this? He had a great game too. 100 yards, 100 receiving yards. And
Yeah.
another 43 rushing yards. So great game from him. It'll be interesting to see how the usage gets split between him and Clyde when Clyde's back, because I think Clyde's trending towards playing this week, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be interesting. Darrell Williams might become useless. He's definitely not going to be as involved as he is now. I'll say that much. Aaron Jones got banged up, so that kind of sucks. But Ashley's side here, no real, Ramondre Stevenson she picked up and put in last second because again, kind of mentioned at the beginning, her team was really banged up. She didn't have DeAndre Hopkins, he was out. She didn't have Kamara, he was out with an injury. Brandon Cooks was on a bye for her. Chase Edmonds went on IR. Like just James Robinson was questionable up until basically the game, so she didn't know if she was going to have him or have to stick in, uh, you know, somebody else. She had to play Alex Collins, which is never really fun. So her team's pretty banged up right now, but she might get Hopkins back this upcoming week. We'll talk about that later. I think I'm good on this matchup. You have anything to add?
Nope.
All right, let's talk about Henry and Jimbo here. So Jimbo is really, again, after a couple strong weeks in the beginning here, he's kind of fallen off the plan a little bit. That's because he sucks at fantasy, so I'm not really surprised by that. Um, looking at Henry's side here, Henry did get CMC back. So I heard that CMC only played like 55% of the snaps, which for Christian McCaffrey at his peak, he played like 100 or 95% of the snaps, right? So 55 is very low for him, and he put up 26 points with no touchdowns either. Um, that's that's remarkable. I mean, that's exactly what you wanted out of Christian McCaffrey, right? He basically got like 100 rushing, 100 receiving yards. Only 66 receiving yards, but 10 catches, 150 yards. Like that's a great day. No touchdowns, and you don't even care. Devonta Smith's been killing it lately. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. He started Matt Ryan, who did absolutely nothing. I know you started Matt Ryan in the other league, who,
Yep.
it was
I will
even
never
worse
start again.
because interceptions are -2 in that league. So I think you finished with
Yep.
0.68 instead of Henry's
Oh yeah.
2.68. On Jimmy's side, Lamar actually finished with 18 points. I'm surprised given how bad that game was. Um,
Yeah.
So that's good to see. Hit 39 rushing yards kind of helps establish that baseline there. Justin Jefferson with a solid game. Really nobody else worth talking about in Jimmy's lineup here. You know, Jimmy's team, he's got Julio. Would you keep Julio at this point or drop him?
Try and trade him maybe, but doubt anyone's gonna give you anything.
Right. I
That's
mean, yeah, exactly. What would you get for Julio at this point? Because he's on IR, so you're not going to have him for the next few weeks. And then
honestly, I'd probably drop him.
I
His
think I would
upcoming
too.
schedule's not great.
Yeah, his schedule's not great. He's got New England in there, Pittsburgh's in there. Um,
I
15,
guess
16, 17.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville's fine. Houston's good. But, well, here's the thing. He's not going to play Houston. He's not going to play New England. So I shouldn't say that because he's going to be out for those two games. And then he has the bye. So at the earliest, he can come back for the Week 14 game against Jacksonville. But then he gets Pitt, San Fran, and Miami for the playoffs. So
That's even healthy.
if he's even healthy, and it's not like he's been good when he has been healthy this year. He's had one
Nice
good game.
trash.
So yeah, it's like I guess the question when you're talking about dropping a player is who are you picking up in their place? And I'm not sure there's anybody worth stashing over Julio at this point. If there was somebody he was targeting, he would certainly be worth a drop. Although he does have an empty bench spot, so probably not necessarily. He's also got Khalil Herbert he can drop. He could, if he wanted to, drop Derrick Henry and slot Julio in. I don't think it really matters. Derrick Henry's not coming back unless
Yeah.
it's for like maybe 1 week of the playoffs, which I don't think Jimmy's. You think Jimmy's going to make the playoffs?
No.
I don't think Jimmy's going to make the playoffs. Sorry, Jimbo. On Henry's side here, we just kind of talked about it. Christian McCaffrey was his go-to guy here. Nobody else really worth mentioning. A lot of that this week. A lot of guys not worth mentioning. So, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about JT and Chris's game here. Jumping talented porpoises and only make boys. 125 to 110 here. Again, Chris has trended upwards these past few weeks. I feel like he was like in like the 80s and 90s, and he's been like above 100, I think, a couple weeks now. Part of that was
Well,
because half of his points came from Patrick Mahomes,
yeah.
so that helps.
Gonna mention that one.
Yeah, 5 touchdowns and 400 passing
400
yards.
yards.
So
Disgusting.
a little bit of a redemption game from Patrick Mahomes. Although he's still throwing these deep balls that like apparently there was like 4 throws that should have been picked by the Raiders, and they just kind of like the Ravens. Like the Ravens always have these like almost interceptions, and they never come down with them. And
Yep.
that's what happened in this game with the Raiders. They didn't. They had a bunch of picks they should have had. Probably would have made this game closer. And definitely would have made Patrick Mahomes not have quite as good of a day. Literally everybody else in the team was single-digit scoring, so we're not going to talk too much about them.
Nope.
Green Bay was his next highest scorer, his defense. So looking at JT's team, JT obviously had a better day. CeeDee Lamb had a great day before leaving with an injury, but they were also blowing out the Falcons, so I didn't really need him much anyway. Same with Zeke. They didn't need Zeke by the time they were up. Hunter Henry had a good game, 2 touchdowns here. Hunter Renfrow had a pretty good game. Antonio Gibson had a couple touchdowns too, so it was good to see from him. So all in all, I think JT's team is trending up. He might be able to. Let's see where he's at. He's only 3 wins. That's the problem, and he doesn't have enough points scored. He's got to get above. He's about 160 points short of kind of the point threshold for making that 6th seed. So I think it's gonna be really tough for him at this point to make up the point and or the win differential to make a playoff spot. But I think his team is trending upwards. I do think that. But anyways, all right, let's move on to the next game here. Let's talk about Melissa and Kate. Very low scoring matchup. This may have been the lowest scoring matchup of the week. I think it was 107 versus 96 here. Tyreek, good game. That's coupled with 2 of the touchdowns that Patrick Mahomes threw. So that's that. Najee had 100 rushing yards. Najee's been really good this year too. He's I think top 3 or top 4 running back on the season. He hasn't really done anything crazy. If you look at Najee's stats, he's just been okay. Like you're not winning a week because of Najee, but like just having that consistent 20 points every week is very nice. So
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, okay game here in a game that got blown out by Mark Ingram. How about that? Man, Kamara not in this game, so Ingram said, "I'll do it." He got 21 points for her, so that's cool. I still like Ingram here. Just from his time and his short time in Baltimore, he was fun. He brought a lot of energy to the team.
I think he only needed like 20 yards that game to be like the Saints' all-time rushing leader now.
I thought he got it. I thought he got it.
Oh, he did. Yeah.
Oh, you mean he only needed 20 from the start of that game?
He only
Gotcha.
needed like 20 something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's crazy. Good for him for getting that. How long was he there? before Kamara kind of took over? Do you know? I don't really know.
Well, he was there with Kamara for a
He,
couple
I know they
years.
were there together, but he was there before Kamara, wasn't he? Wasn't he the
Yeah.
guy before Kamara came in?
Hmm.
Yes, I wonder how long. I'll have to look that up later. Looking at Kate's team here, Travis Kelce had a nice bounce back game. Nobody else in our team really did anything here. When you got to start guys like Sony Michelle, you're kind of screwed for the week. So, um, sub 100 points here. Russell Wilson really had a crappy game in his first game back. I don't think anybody really expected that, but I didn't watch any of that game. But apparently his throws looked really errant. He had a lot of bad throws. So, uh,
Definitely rushed it.
yeah. It seems like he could use a little bit more time. Thankfully, she's going to get Galladay back probably and Barkley back probably this upcoming week, which is going to be much needed here. Hey, look at that. Singletary had another double-digit game. Only took,
Just because of touchdown.
yeah, exactly. And it only took playing against the crappy Jets who give up like the most points to running backs and winning 45-17 in order to do it. So, um,
Did you see that Wilson has like never been blown out or like
mhm.
he's
Never
never
been
had a
shut down.
game?
Yeah.
Yeah, shut down. That's the word.
Yep. Or shut out, I guess. Yep, I saw that.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, all right, let's move on to the last matchup here. I believe this is you against Scat here. So you got out to a strong start, I thought, this week. Yeah, look, your
Uh,
projected points were absolutely through the roof this week. That's
yeah,
right.
it
We were
was
talking about that.
crazy.
And then obviously that all fell apart here for you.
Yeah.
You can take us through your lineup here and what happened.
Well, we had Cup do his usual thing. Good, fantastic floor. I loved it. Dallas defense and Dalvin Cook were the three people that gave me the floor. AJ Brown wanted to poop the bed. Tannehill, honestly, he's regressed so much this
Yeah,
season. I don't know what the heck's wrong with him.
yeah.
Quarterback Patterson got injured. Um, and then for some reason, Dak wanted to have a great game, but except not throw to his tight ends.
Did they have Michael
So
Gallup back in this game?
yeah,
That might be why.
might be.
Having Gallup may actually really hurt Schultz down the road here. Because remember, most of those games where the Schultz was relevant was after the week one where Gallup got hurt. So
Yeah,
not the Gallup's like a world beater or anything, but he's going to
yeah.
take targets that Schultz was getting. So I would honestly expect more of this from him. He's going to probably have a touchdown here or there, but I think his best days this season are behind him, unfortunately. Yeah. Cooper Cup. It's kind of funny. Like I'm almost disappointed in this game from Cooper Cup. You know what I mean? Like because he didn't have a
Yeah.
touchdown. You want the touchdown from Cooper Cup, but he got you 26 points because he caught the ball 11 freaking times and had
Yeah.
122 yards. Like you're not really disappointed with that, but it feels
No,
disappointing
definitely
because
not. Well, Stafford looked terrible,
he did.
so
He did look
he's the
terrible.
reason to blame for that.
Yeah, he's. I saw a stat today that said Odell had 2 catches for 17 yards, and then the Niners defensive player, what's his name, like Fred Warner, I think,
The linebacker.
had like 2 catches for like 27 yards and a touchdown, like from Stafford. It was the passing stats from
Yeah,
Stafford.
that's funny. That's petty.
Yeah, it is petty. I mean, I think Odell. People were kind of crapping on Odell after this game
Oh, no curse.
because the Odell curse exactly. But like, he had 3 targets in this game. He caught 2 of them. One of them was for a first down, and one of them was for a nice 5-yard game. And the third one was like there was some miscommunication. He didn't run his route properly, but Stafford still threw the ball to like 2 defenders. So
Yeah,
I don't think Odell was the problem at all here. And
I think losing Woods hurt a lot.
yeah, that's what I was hearing too. Is that the loss of Woods really stung more than people would have thought. So so they might struggle. It's kind of crazy too. Like the Rams defense, it's got to be on paper one of the best defenses, right? Because
Oh,
they just got
easily.
Von Miller. They already had Aaron Donald, and
And
they have
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey. Like 3 of the best defensive players in the NFL, all on the same team now. Like I would kill for the Ravens to have any one of those players, just one of them. I think we would be
Yeah,
way better. And they had 3, and they couldn't stop the Niners and Jimmy G and just
yeah,
just a not great team. But anyways,
yeah.
so
So
looking to the other side here, Scott's team. He had Josh Allen, another great game here. 45 points will do it. Um, 45 points scored by the Bills, that is. Nothing from DK or Hollywood this game. Hollywood, I think, had 13 targets in this game, but, could only catch 6 of them. He had some drops.
yeah, that's usual.
Some kind of funky throws in this game by Lamar, too, so not great. Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries in this game. Like, that's great volume. But here's the problem. no targets, right? So 27 carries, 91 yards. Man, that's a great day. 9.1 points because
Yeah.
no catches, no touchdowns. So that's what you hate about running backs that don't catch the ball. Like Christian McCaffrey had more yards than that, but he also had 10 catches. So boom, Christian McCaffrey had like 3 times the points. Um, he had to play Dearness Johnson this game, who look at that, just 1 yard short of the 100-yard rushing bonus. He didn't need it
Good.
in this game, but it's always sucks when that happens. He had 150 yards. That's a great day. Dearness Johnson's really good.
He definitely does look good. But what makes me mad, I texted you about this, was the fact that they were down like 45-7. He was still catching the ball and running the ball. It's like,
Yeah,
why would you not sit him so he's healthy?
right. Because especially when your starting running backs are banged up and on the COVID list, you would think you'd want to preserve him a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Browns seem to
Stupid.
be melting down a little bit. Honestly, the whole AFC North is kind of weird because they're all really good and really, really bad at the same time. So
Yeah.
it's strange. I was looking the other day at some of the standings in the NFL, and you know, 12 of the 16 AFC teams all have 5 or more wins right now. There's only 4 teams under like 500 in the AFC.
That's
So
crazy.
you've got Titans at the top at 8-2, but then like basically every other team's got 5 or 6 wins except for the Jets and the Texans and the Jags and the fourth one who I'm forgetting. Um, but yeah, anyways, Bateman, had I think 8 targets in this game, 6 catches for
He
80.
looked good.
Yeah, he hasn't had a touchdown yet, but like he just looks good, and he's effective, he's efficient. He catches the ball, and it's almost always a first down. He makes smart plays, like
Great hands.
yeah, great hands. There was a fumble. I don't remember who it was. Maybe you remember, but somebody fumbled the ball. It may have been Hollywood.
Watkins.
Well, Watkins fumbled, and that was actually taken back for a touchdown by the Dolphins. But somebody else fumbled at some point. It may have been Hollywood, and Bateman was like right there, and he got on it, and he was kind of quick, and it was
I don't know. I
yeah,
don't remember.
it was just a solid play by Bateman. We recovered it, but anyways, so nobody really on Scott's bench worth mentioning. So let's move on here. Let's talk about our Week 11 matchups here. Like I said, start of our final stretch here. We got 4 weeks left. Um, I guess I'm not sure when the buys stop. I think we talked about this in the previous show, but I don't
14,
recall.
right?
Did they go through 14? That makes sense because I think they went through 13 in
I
previous
think the
years.
Eagles are Eagles and someone are at 14.
Okay. All right. I could probably actually check that real quick because I have an Eagles player. You're right. Yep. So that must be the last one, week 14. Okay. So buys go all the way through the
Brutal.
regular. Yeah, that is brutal. Man, you got to play. You got to play 13 games before you get a rest. That really sucks. But all right, we'll just start at the top here with me. Look at my team versus Jimmy. My team's kind of struggled too a little bit. I really don't have a lot of depth pieces. This week's a good example of that. I don't really have a good substitute for Darrell Henderson. I might have to actually play a second tight end, Pat Fryermuth, excuse me, who I really don't want to.
Well, Ridley can come back this week, right?
Um,
I think it's been 3 games because he was. Oh wait, no, he went IR
no,
after
after
Carolina.
after the Carolina game, so
Okay.
he's got to miss at least this one, and I honestly don't expect him back after that one. So he's just kind of sitting on my bench, worthless but undroppable. So Sterling Shepard's probably not going to play, but so yeah, I mean, I really don't have a second guy. I got a waiver claim in for somebody, but waiver wire's thin, so it's going to be a rough week for me. At least I have everybody else, thankfully, but not great matchups. I got a couple guys going up against Buffalo. It's Pittman and Taylor. That's not great. Michael Carter against Miami should be better, assuming the Jets play better than the Ravens did. Swift against Cleveland's fine. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not loving a lot of the stuff here. Tannehill against Houston hopefully will be better. Jimmy's side of the ball here. Michael Williams has been really disappointing lately. Gaskin's obviously been really disappointing. Melvin Gordon's got a bye. Darren Waller's been disappointing. Russell Gage has goosed him a couple weeks in a row. Odell's got a bye. I'm going to give it to myself here. I've got some holes to fill, but I think Jimmy's got more holes, bigger holes.
Yeah.
So I think we can move on from this. We'll talk about let's see, Ashley and Melissa. So Melissa, Kyler. I think Kyler's trending upwards, but I don't think it's a given that he's going to play this week. From some of the guys, the Arizona know-how guys, they don't think he's going to play. But
I don't think he does. They have a
yeah,
bye week next week.
that's what they said too. They said why play him? They've kind of locked up the NFC a little bit, especially with the Rams losing last night. That helped them. So yeah, why rush him back when you're winning without him? For the most part, just kind of let him rest, get the bye, and then come back strong for the playoff push. Tyreek should be fine. Jamar, Najee, she's got great players here. Um, I like her side of the ball. And Ashley hopefully will have a redemption week here herself. Hopefully Hopkins plays. Kamara's not going to play. She does get Brandon Cooks back, which is good. He's been pretty solid as like an wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 most of the season. He just gets a ton of volume. He gets an enormous amount of targets, so that's the saving grace for Brandon Cooks, and he's still really talented. Ramondre Stevenson, I'm not sure if he's even going to be, if Damian Harris plays, Ramondre's pretty much worthless. So
What if you play Elijah Moore again? He's been a good floor.
yeah, he's he had this touchdown this past week, which was good. He had 2 touchdowns the week before. He's had consistent targets ever since their bye, 6 or more every week. So yeah, it definitely, against Miami, it's not a bad matchup. So if push comes to shove, like she's got to take Ramondre out, then yeah, Elijah Moore is probably the play there. So we'll see as the practice reports start rolling out these next couple days who's playing, who's not. I give it to Melissa right now, though. I think Melissa's just got a healthier team.
Agreed.
So
And you see what Cam can do with DJ Moore.
yeah. Cam did not look good playing as the Patriots quarterback last year. Didn't do much for the receivers. You can only hope it's better this year with the Panthers again. Did you see the clip of him screaming, "I'm back," after he scored that first
Like a
touchdown?
grandpa.
I didn't actually. That's funny. I didn't listen to it. I watched it. I didn't listen to it. I just saw him mouth it.
You gotta listen to it. It's hilarious.
He's such a goofy dude. But anyways, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about Justin and Shannon's matchup here. So Shannon obviously has been on fire. She lost her first matchup I think last week for the first time since like week 1.
Yeah.
So I don't expect anything different. She's got her team kind of at full strength this week. Debo obviously, Devontae, Dak, Eckler, Andrews. She didn't play Fournette last week, which I thought was odd, and
I don't know why. Yeah.
yeah, over Crowder, and I would definitely have Fournette in over Crowder. That would have given her an even bigger cushion over me. So she's got some pivot options down there. Solid team all around. Looking at Justin's team. Diggs, Evans, great. Aaron Rodgers, okay. He's rolling with Darrell Williams. Well, we don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to play. If he does, that definitely nerfs Darrell Williams. Mike Gesicki should probably bounce back from his goose. Emmanuel Sanders, well, okay. Depends on whether Diggs has a good game or not. Honestly, it doesn't seem like the 3 Buffalo wide receivers don't seem to have a good day at the same time. It seems like it's either Cole Beasley or Emmanuel Sanders or Stephon Diggs. And unfortunately, he has 2 of those guys, so he's capping his upside there for sure. Devonta Freeman. So did you see this today? Bell got cut.
Yeah, I sent you the. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You sent me the thing. That's right. We didn't really. Okay, yeah. I forgot we talked about that. Yeah, that was kind of wild. I mean, like he didn't look good, but to me that says like they're either gonna sign somebody, bring somebody up from the practice squad, or it also tells me that probably Latavius Murray is close to coming back.
So Harbaugh said that they have guys coming back, and so they need the space, but they're hoping that he can come back to the practice squad.
And I figure those guys they were talking about were like Nick Boyle and
Boyle definitely has to be one.
And there was somebody else too. I'm forgetting, but
Makari.
Maybe Makari. It might have been Makari. Yeah, and that could be. But still, we're still slim. Like John Harbaugh had not great things to say about Tyson Williams. That's who it was. Yeah, it was Ben Cleveland. Yeah. Harbaugh had not great things to say about Tyson. Well, not like Kyle Shanahan type things where he was trashing Tyson, but basically saying like, look, Tyson's got to earn his way back into a starting role because what we've seen has not been impressive. So that tells me it's Latavius.
Said that.
Yeah, it was like I paraphrase there a little bit, but effectively it wasn't targeting Tyson particularly, but they were like, yeah, he's got to he's got to maybe get out there on special teams because that's where he's been playing some snaps as special teams, and really kind of show us what he's got, and then we'll work him back into the running back rotation a little bit. Yeah, which is crazy because the first 2 weeks he was really
Looked better
good.
than Bell. Yeah,
He's looked better than all of them, honestly, like in those first 2 weeks at least. But none of them have looked particularly great. So it'd be interesting to see if they end up signing someone. Or there's a dude on the practice squad whose name I can't remember that they've been talking about. But um, regardless, Bell's gone, so Devonta Freeman I think still gets a bump there. So against Chicago, not a great matchup,
I still
especially
get
if Murray
Shannon.
comes back. Yeah, and against Shannon, right? So yeah, this is Justin's got a bunch of spots he needs to fill too on his bench. Like Devontae Parker should be in his IR slot, and he should have 3 more players on his bench. Not that there's like a ton out there, but anything's better than nothing. So that would be my advice to him.
Losing Aaron Jones hurts a lot.
Yeah, that sucks. At least it's only a week or two. That's
Yeah,
gonna that's
that's
not too
true.
bad. It could have been way worse, but yeah, for sure that sucks. And my worry with a guy like Aaron Jones is like, okay, when he comes back, like, what if AJ Dillon tears it up these next 2 weeks? Like, are they going to come back and they were already splitting the workload, obviously, but do they favor AJ Dillon more? You know what I mean? Like, that's always my
Right.
concern. Like, in the absence of Aaron Jones, does the new guy kind of usurp the role? But either way, we won't know until then. So let's move on. Let's talk about next matchup here. What is it? Henry and Chris. So these have been two of our lower scoring guys here. So we will see how they do. Henry's got Christian McCaffrey back. Henry's team actually on paper is really not that bad. Keenan Allen, Godwin, McCaffrey, like that's pretty good. He's also got a couple guys on IR who hopefully he gets back soon. Clyde and Kareem Hunt. He might have Clyde this week as we talked about earlier, but not sure yet. So that would be big if he could get Clyde in there
Yeah.
and take out of his lineup Brandon Bolden, who is going to be virtually not worthless once Damian Harris is there, but upside's capped for sure. Devonta Smith's been good, so Burrow's been okay. Back off of a bye. Burrow's actually been really good, with the exception of Week 9. Um,
Yeah.
so I think Henry's got a pretty strong team here. Chris, obviously, we don't really talk too much about. Mahomes is his guy, and that's pretty much it. Um,
Yep.
and so I think Henry takes this matchup. So let's talk about one of our last two matchups here. I think JT and you, right?
Mhm.
So real quick, looking at your matchup here, Herbert, AJ Brown. Hopefully he's gonna have a bounce back week against Houston.
He has to. I
Yeah,
expect a 40-point game.
yeah, because he's had 2 disappointing weeks in a row here, which really sucks. He had 11 targets 2 weeks ago, but only
Yeah.
5 for 42. So that's no bueno. Terry McLaurin back off of a bye. Hopefully had a little time to rest. Well, I know bye was 2 weeks ago, but hopefully that helped because I know he had a bad week last week. Against Tampa Bay, but that's because Antonio Gibson took 2 of the touchdowns there. Um, Dalvin Cook against Green Bay, okay. Damian Harris, you think he's going to play? I think he's going to play, right?
He practiced limited today. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
He
hope he
was, I
does.
think he was, it sounded like he was kind of close to playing this past weekend, honestly, but I don't think he had cleared the protocol yet, so I expect him out of that
Yep.
shortly. Anybody else you plan on moving around here? Cordell Patterson, I mean, what do you think the chances are of him playing? Because he practiced limited today as well.
I don't think. Even if he does, I'm not starting him. I think he's gonna be limited.
Yeah, because it's a short turnaround here. They play on Thursday, so
Yeah.
I
I don't
could.
think he plays.
Yeah, you're probably right. And having said that, maybe we should pick up
Cause,
Gallman.
yeah, because I mean, you give him 10 days to rest
Yeah, he'll be
till his
fine.
next game. Yeah, I think they should really set him.
Yeah, all right. So let's see here. Cooper Cup on the bye really sucks.
Yeah, it
Well,
hurts.
that hurts a lot.
But JT loses Stafford,
Oh yeah,
and
he's got a bunch of. Well, he had Henderson
he
before
had
we traded.
Woods
You had
too.
Woods gone, so Stafford's on a bye. Um, let's see. Oh, Van Jefferson, bye. Javante's on a bye. Yeah, his team's hurting this week. I mean, he's got CD and Lockett and Gibson in there and Zeke and stuff, but
I'm scared of CD.
yeah, against Kansas City, that's a juicy matchup. That's a really good matchup, honestly. Zeke too. He's got.
He's
I'd
got
be,
some good
I'd be
matchups.
curious to
Well,
see who he ends up playing at quarterback.
he's got to pick someone up. Ooh, let me see. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
and steal one from him. Let me
There's
see.
also I'm gonna be curious to
Mac.
see who he drops. He'll probably drop Van Jefferson if I had to
He's
guess.
gonna go for Mac Jones, and I'm gonna bid for that.
There you
Sorry,
go.
nope,
Hey,
he can't
strategic,
have it.
strategic right there.
Hmm.
Um,
I really am though.
yeah, hey, why not? So yeah, I give it to your team. I think he's got some solid matchups, but yeah, I think quarterback's gonna hurt him. So I give this to you. Anything else you want to add here about your team, or anything you're changing, or anything you like, you don't like? Oh,
Uh, um, maybe waivers. No, there's really nothing on waivers.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't
really
know.
not. Like I was looking because, like I said, I want to find somebody to fill in for Daryl Henderson because I have virtually no bench depth. Um,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Jamal Agnew, who actually I had like 2 weeks ago, and then I dropped because he's Jamal Agnew. Um,
Trevor
so, but
Lawrence has,
it's
he's only thrown 5 touchdowns since week 1.
ooh,
That's pathetic.
that's rough.
That is, it's disgusting.
That's bad. Yeah, that sucks. And conversely, like Mac Jones has quietly become by far the best of the rookie quarterbacks.
Oh, he by far is.
Yeah. Um, I mean, they're all starting at this point except Trey Lance, right? You got Justin Fields is now starting. Zach Wilson, once healthy, is starting. Trevor Lawrence is starting. Mac Jones is starting. So Trey Lance is the only one that has yet to be given that role, and that's because the 49ers seem to be doing okay without him. So be kind of curious to see what it looks like when he's there. But all right, let's move on. Let's talk about last matchup
Scott and
here: Scott
Kate.
and Kate. Yep. So Kate, as we talked about, might get Barkley back, might get Galladay back. That'll be a big help. Russell Wilson. Do you play Russell Wilson against Arizona this week? Given
Mm,
his,
I would wait until we see what they've been saying during practice to see if if he's looking the same, like if reports come out, he looks the same again. You know, maybe that game they just rushed him back. I don't know. I would see just wait until what news reports come out, whatever, and then if he's looking bad in practices, I would definitely start car
yeah,
over him.
yep. I think I agree with that. Um, she's got Jalen Waddle's been pretty solid. Amari Cooper's been solid for the most part. Couple up and downs. Travis Kelce always good.
Oh, CD's definitely the wide receiver 1 there now. There's
Oh,
no
no,
question.
no question. Yeah, he's a starter to himself. Absolutely. Amari's still very much involved in the offense, but yeah, CD's. I think everybody knew this was going to be the case, right? This is why CD had a higher draft capital in fantasy this season.
Which is crazy because Cooper's definitely all around a better receiver in my opinion.
Oh, you think
Like
Amari Cooper's better than CD?
like all time, yeah,
Well, like you mean like stat wise? I mean, CD's like a sophomore, right? So he doesn't have much.
yeah.
But
I just think
like
yeah,
talent wise, it's sort of like I mean, CD was a first round pick last year, right? I mean, he was touted to be
yeah,
like the guy. He was like the receiver. Um, Obviously, rookie wide receivers they don't necessarily always do a whole lot, so everybody expected the breakout sophomore season, which he's having for the most part here.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I mean, career wise, I guess we'll see in a few years who's done better, but I
yeah.
have a feeling it's gonna be CD. Um, but yeah, no question there. He's established himself. So on Scott's side of the ball, Josh
Um,
Allen's good. DK, I was reading some interesting stats here before we started filming. Actually, Lockett, believe it or not, um, metric wise, has been a lot better than DK. He's got like more air yards. He's got a higher percentage of targets. Just kind of in most of the metrics, probably outside of actual like catches. Um, Lockett's had been very very much as involved, if not more so involved than
I believe it.
DK. Again, you look at the finishes for the weeks, you're going to see DK finishes higher because he ends up most weeks with sort of one big catch in the touchdown, which always saves him. But so I expect more out of Lockett here. But DK, same thing. Tough matchup against Arizona. Thielen, okay. Chubb should be back this week, right? I don't think there's any real question about that. Chubb
Yeah,
should be back.
Chubb
Yeah.
could feast against that defense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be a good matchup. David Montgomery back against us. I'm sure he will tear us a new one just because I
Maybe
have a
three
feeling
touchdowns.
either we're going to crush the Bears or the Bears are going to beat us. It's good. Obviously, it has to end one of those two ways, anyways. But like, it's going to be decisively one way or the other, and it's unpredictable. So, um, and the scary thing is, that's the easiest matchup for like the Ravens. Did you know that? Like the remaining 8 games we play, like this one coming up is the easiest. Because after that, we play Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Green Bay, Cincy, and then the Rams, and then Pittsburgh. Like that's a
That's
terrible,
brutal.
terrible like final. Like if we can go 4-4, not talking about fantasy here for a moment, 4-4 over that final stretch, that would put us at 10-7 on the season, which is probably enough to get into the playoffs. Although again, hard to say when like most of the AFC teams right now have 5 or more wins. But
Yeah.
4-4, and it's going to be tough to get there. I think so. We'll see.
Yep.
But the rest of Scott's team, is fine. Elijah Mitchell, I think he's going to play despite the fact that he had surgery on his finger today. Put a pin in or something like that.
I
So
still give it to Scott.
yeah, I do too. I think Kate's team's too banged up here. Um, yeah, give it to Scott. Okay, all right. Well then, let's head back to the league overview here. See if there's anything else we wanted to talk about. Shannon's still crushing it. I mean, you're second in points scored, and Shannon's like 120, almost 130 points ahead of you. So she's like
Yeah.
just way out in front. Um,
Well, she started just so high in front of everybody,
yeah, she
so
did.
it's hard to climb behind her.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to catch up, especially she's still having she had the most points again this week. Like it's hard, not by much. Obviously, you were none of us were far away from her, but it's she keeps building the lead even slightly. It's hard to catch up. So
Yeah.
I think the challenge for the rest of us now is can Shannon be unseated from like one of those buy spots. Like I think you, her, and I obviously being out in front. I think we probably have some of the stronger teams. Obviously, that's why we're up here, right? But it's a matter of which two are going to finish top two. It'll be at least one of us will be up there, and
Yeah.
probably two of the three of us will be up there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that fleshes out as the season goes on here. So waivers run tonight, or tomorrow morning, I guess technically.
Yeah. Like
So
random time.
yeah, unrelated to that, I think next season, and this is sort of a unrelated to the weekly stuff either. I think we're going to drop the bench next year. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago when we were watching one of the Ravens games, but I think we're going to go down to 5 bench spots and 1 IR. I think the waivers being this thin is not. It's like it makes the waiver wire almost pointless, right? Because like you're fighting over just turds. There's just absolute turds on the waiver wire. Like they're not viable players half the time.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see what kind of interesting changes that makes. But anyway, Justin already dropped Adrian Peterson. Okay, that was a quick experiment. Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, okay. All right, that's it for week 10 recap, week 11 preview. We will see you all next week, and good luck, everyone.
Good luck.
Peace.